Trying to follow these scriptures, now the reaper's all on my back. Now it's suspect with these preachers, wonder why they teach what they teaching. You claim that you have truth, but ain't practicing what you preaching. Come around calling me bro, when I needed you, you went ghost. Don't try to get too close, or you just might get exposed. That world mission society had me locked down in my soul, and I'm not playing.
Esperanza mentioned it. It comes from Zangyo Ja. A Day in the Life of Mother is what the video is called. And it shows this woman arranging, literally arranging members, picking them, choosing them.
The caption on it was like something like, Mother finds suitable helpers for church overseers, like something along those lines. Yeah. Yeah, because right, as the woman, you again like the verbiage, like you're the helper. You're just the help, right? Um so yeah, where were we?
No, that can expand to so many things, Esperanza, because honestly, like I think like just as women, we were asked not to speak certain times, or
Yeah,
we're asked
don't look, keep your head down.
Right, don't preach. If like me personally, I was a house church leader, right? But my husband was the one who had to preach, whether it was a female or male contact. I wasn't the one to study with them. It had to be him because he was the male leader. So I would say that it's not that those situations always turn out good or positive. I'm not trying to say that, but it's the influence of the church to make that decision on behalf of you when you know what's right or wrong, but yet you're looking at the church for their guidance. Does that make sense? So I feel like that's where the flaw comes in, because we're looking at this organization for their guidance, for their influence, and they're not providing us with the most safe resolution. Yeah.
And let's, if they want to, I mean, I don't want to get petty, but I mean, let's get petty. If she's the standard, what was she doing then? Did she choose her first husband for the gospel? How'd that marriage end? You know what I mean? I mean, I don't even want to get started with ahnsahnghong and everything that he was doing in Korea. But what I'm saying is the math ain't mathing. They hold you to a standard that the very gods that supposedly run this church didn't live by. And it just shows you that the standard is not holiness. The standard is business oriented. How can we get the maximum potential out of these people? That's the goal. That's always been the goal. It's not about holiness. It's not about any of that. They say you need a helper suitable? Wasn't Apostle Paul single in the New Testament? Again, the way that they manipulate it is very strange to me. They're not Christians. They disguise this is why I say, I've been saying this lately, this is an organization disguised as Christianity. They're giving Christianity a bad name because they're trying to take Christian principles, but everything about them screams cult from the very beginning. And unfortunately, it's the members that get affected by it. But I don't know, Esperanza, I don't know if you want to take us to maybe what was even that. I mean, you kind of told us a little bit what was asked of you in the marriage and how they kind of forced you into the marriage. But what was the experience like? What do you remember from that time? Whatever you can share.
Yeah. So many things happened so quickly. I mean, that's just like the theme of my experience there as a whole. But when I got into the arranged marriage, and we're living together now, and I'm now expected to like please this person in unfortunate ways, and but I'm also like, okay, this is my duty to God. And father's coming soon, so hopefully I don't have to do this for long. And I very quickly saw that, and again, now looking all these years later, I have perspective and I understand what they were doing. It's unfortunate, but I understand what they were doing. I saw that actually, like, because I would stay at the church as late as possible. Like, there's stuff to do. Father might come tonight, right now, tomorrow. So, like, don't boast about tomorrow, right? And also, I didn't want to go home. So I would stay as late as I could too. That was also a part of it. Um, and yeah, then I get home and like he loved going home early. Um, there were many times where like, cause if you're like a gospel worker, especially if you live in the church, it's like, okay, you need to be you need to be here inside the common areas of the church by this time. You need to come start cooking dinner for everybody at this time. That way the members don't see you like walking from your room to the church or whatever, you know? So like everything is a schedule and you have to follow it strictly, right? Like I had to text my leaders when I got off work and I was leaving. So they knew I was about to be there. And if I needed to run any errands, like right, going to Walmart, I had to text them and let them know. So I'm following this rigid schedule, and it's like this is just the gospel work. Like, and also that in itself too was presented to me like, okay, we are a heavenly family, and like family checks in on each other, and like we know where everybody's at and that they're okay. So like you need to let us know every day, like, hey, I just got done with work. I'm coming now. Hey, I'm doing this. Can I go do this? And it was like, no, actually, you shouldn't go to Walmart and get deodorant on this day. You can go this day instead. Because at that time, then you can also buy these other things for the church or whatever. Um, so stuff like that. So I'm following this and I'm like, okay, like I'm still new though, and I'm learning and I'm like, okay, all right, like I'm getting in the routine. I'm like, this is it. Okay, I just have to do this. And um and I knew that I had been like promoted in a way too. So if you have like promotion, you have more work. So I'm like, this is just what it is. But then like he already was in a leadership position, like it just as a unit leader. And he had been in years before me. So because of where I was at, like I also expected him to be doing all those same things, if not more, because hello. um and that might have been the perception that I had of him before too, because it's like, okay, he bought a church van, he moved for the gospel, he left his family and his life for the gospel, like he must have really good faith. Okay. But then I find out like they start like telling me that I have to keep tabs on him. And it's time to be at the church and he's nowhere to be found many times. And they're asking me like, hey, do you know where brother is? And I'm like, I literally have no idea. He would just be out like he would go eat all the time. He would just go around, whatever. Which like I'm glad that people like when people like go experience life while they're in the church, like people deserve that. But he's he's on my shit list and I'm like, are you kidding me?
They shouldn't put the blame on you.
Yeah,
That's the thing is where he may have
but
you were held accountable on behalf of him. That's all.
yeah,
That's
so the reason I bring this up in particular is to bring to the surface another reason that they do the arranged marriages. Um, it's all for control.
mhm.
Not only did they want to keep me there and be able to access my physical labor and my assets and everything to the full extent, but they also like each partner in the arranged marriage is a watch person for the other, and you're supposed to report everything to the leadership. So that's why it's like, okay, where is he? Um, And then, like I mentioned in the playing in traffic interview that I did, like, especially like on Sundays where we got to sleep in a little bit. I hated Sundays because then it meant, like I'm home with him more. Um, it would be time to leave and go preach. And he would literally hold me there in the room and say, "No, let's just stay here for like 30 more minutes and do this instead." And the deacon would literally come banging on our bedroom door like, "Hey, like it's time to go." And he would keep my mouth quiet and he would respond to the deacon and say, "Oh yeah, la la la," like just make up some excuse and like we'll be there at this time. Like he he was so irresponsible when it came to like what I was told this whole purpose was for. And so he was actually like causing trouble for them because as that continued, then like that deacon and the overseer's wife, like they started to tell me more. They're like, "Yeah, actually, like we're always trying to like track down brother. Like he's always just like, in the bathroom or he's gone or like we don't know." And then I found out like just there's this mountain that I'm like, "What?" And then I see that they put me with him to try to get him in line.
Hmm.
Also knowing, um, so later when things got really bad, um, also I want to mention briefly, I was told at one point, like, "Oh yeah, he's always in the bathroom," and he's like, was caught on like explicit websites, you know? What even? Inside the church, in the bathroom. Like, I wonder how much of that is going on. But anyway, um, later when it got really bad, like, of course, like I'm expected to just like give my body to this person all the time. He had very big anger issues. Like um, if I like said no to what he wanted, very angry. If he asked me a question, he constantly, I'm tired because I was actually working all day and doing the gospel work. I don't know what he was doing. And so like he's just waiting all day to get me alone. And then he's asking me all these questions about me, about my life. And then he just like, and then I'm like, this God is watching me. And like, I'm being asked questions by this person that has been assigned to me by God. So like, I have to answer his questions. So I'm answering questions like about my like childhood and like stuff like that he's asking me. And then he constantly would use it against me. Like he was just very abusive in many ways, like emotionally, like sexually. He never like hit me with his hands, but he would throw stuff at me, he would like restrain me. But like later when it got back, like the breaking point for me really, like because I had already gone and reported it to leadership and was told, "You're a sister, so you just need to submit. You're like Eve." So for a few more months I put up with it. And then um I found out that I caught him like taking a picture of me while I was getting dressed without my knowledge or consent. And yeah, we were married, but like I still did not consent to a picture. And it was also in a way of like he saw that like I had just caught him with the phone and he immediately pulled it back and like got this like creepy little grin that he always had. And so it's like, okay, you look like you just got caught doing something sinister. And I feel so uncomfortable. I'm like, my skin is crawling and I'm like, oh my God. So I asked him, "Did you just take a picture? Were you taking a picture of me?" And he's like, "No, no, no." And then I'm like, okay, well, like, if you didn't take a picture of me, then may I just see your camera roll? Can I see your phone? to make sure that there's not a picture there. And then he's like, oh, okay, yeah, it was just the one. And he showed it to me. And something inside of me was like, this feels very bad right now. Like, there's more. And I don't even know how I got him to let me have his phone in my hands. And I'm not an idiot, you know? But something was like, something is wrong. You need to find it. Like, my nervous system was like, find the problem and get the hell out of here, you know? And you know those like apps where you can have like a password on the app and you can like have files and all that in there? He had one of those. And there were pictures of me that I couldn't believe I was seeing. Ones of me while I was sleeping, pictures of me from inside the church before we were even married, like months before.
It's not appropriate, you
And
know? Honestly, Esperanza, I'm really sorry. You know, I'm sorry that I have nothing physically in my position to be sorry for, but it's only appropriate to say sorry in the matter. But I was there. Maybe that's why I feel like that. But the position the church put you in is uncomfortable. And why I feel like it's more dangerous is because in a typical human relationship, I can say, this is not comfortable. I'm about to leave.
Mhm.
But in the World Mission Society Church of God, we can't do that. We can't leave. Whatever position the church put us in is God's will, and we have to stay there until the church tells us not to. And if we so choose, I did it, to do something outside of the church's directions, then we're rebuked
Yeah.
and asked, is this God's will? So I can personally say that um, you have to follow the church's instruction,
Mhm.
or you feel like it's you're going to hell. But your situation was the church put you in a relationship, a marriage, and it wasn't there. I'm sure there's been many positive relationships, but this situation was not positive between you and him. And I don't want to put him down, even though I can probably say so many freaking things about him. But I have to put myself in the side of in the inside of somebody who's been in a cult, and I have to say that his choices could only be influenced also by the cult, which really sucks because it's like you're expressing what you're going through, but at the same time, this brother is being told that his actions are correct, and he's being also influenced by the same organization. So the organization that's putting you down is putting him up, and that's not okay. And I can say 100% that the World Mission Society Church of God 100% chooses men over women when it comes to matters like these, you know?
Mhm.
And um, it's not okay. You should never have been put in that position where a man is, you know, I'm married, so it's a little bit different to say like, oh, my husband has a picture of me. But I can say that marriage in the World Mission Society Church of God is not always the same, especially when it's arranged. And if you felt uncomfortable, you have the right to tell him you're uncomfortable, but
Mhm.
his response was not. I don't want to blame him because I want to say it's culty, but it wasn't correct. And the organization backed him in that, to
Mm.
allow him to think that he could have kind of like a little bit of control. I don't know how to say this without.
Yeah, no, so I see what you're saying, and it to like tie in to that point, like I told him, like, brother, this feels very wrong. Like, I feel so violated and uncomfortable right now. Like, please delete all of those and like don't ever take pictures like that of me again. Like we would be so exhausted from the gospel work and just would fall asleep hard cold dead. Like, and he would like move me and take his little picture, like just horrible. And I'm asking him to delete these. And he says that he would, and then he didn't. Like in that single moment. And he was like, well, the Bible says that a woman should submit to her husband. So if you let me do what I want, father, mother will be pleased with you. I will never forget those words. Those were the exact words that he said. Where did he get that from? Like, yeah, they might not have told him like, oh yeah, go ahead and take pictures of your wife without her consent, like inappropriately, and keep a big file to your pleasure. Like, I'm sure they didn't tell him that. But where did he get that like his wife is going to just submit to him, and that if she lets him do whatever he wants, God will be pleased with her, and he would have helped her receive her salvation and go to heaven.
Can I say something? Because I honestly feel embarrassed to say that I was part of the church after hearing something like that. And I can 100% blame. I'm gonna put blame on him. I think two things can be true. I think that he needs to be blamed, and I think the organization that enabled and allowed that kind of behavior to go unpunished, and I would say even rewarded, should be blamed. And you bring up a great point where you're saying that, where did he get this idea from? They might have not told him to do that. But if they're in their Bible studies, what they're trying to convey to the couples is this brother, you're pretty much his property, then why not? He feels he has that control. He feels he can do these type of things and he can do no wrong. Why? You always need to submit to me. That's very dangerous. How does that make sense? This is why these type of videos are needed, because when they're trying to push a certain narrative, the truth, the other side needs to be told. This is what happened. And the members that like Amy that was there, and people that the woman who was on the other side of the wall, all the people that were there that know what happened, I'm glad that you're able to tell your story now so that they can hear it. And maybe, just maybe, this time will be the time that it'll click in their mind and realize I need to get out of there.
Yeah. Yeah. And we know they love to say like that, oh, they left because they just didn't like the way they were being treated. They thought they deserved to be treated better, but they can't say anything about the doctrine. First of all, we all know that doctrine is crap. Second of all, even if the doctrine were stone cold true, like undeniable, does that make this behavior okay? It doesn't. It really doesn't. I do not care. It does not. And I don't wish it on anybody.
So let me ask you this, Esperanza. how did you end up getting out of these situations? And I mean, first of all, this marriage that they put you in, and ultimately the cult. How did that happen?
Yeah, so it was a long process. There were they put you in the arranged marriage to make it harder for you to leave as well, because if you leave, you're still like legally in a contract with this member. Um, so I found the pictures. Um, that conversation ended up like physical. Like he started throwing items in the room at me, and I ran out. Um, and I like ran into the church. And that day, and obviously, like I can't make a scene because if other members like see it, there weren't other members there yet, but only just like the ones we lived with. But I couldn't, especially the one that was single there, like I couldn't let her see any of this going on, because then I'm afraid that I'm gonna affect her faith and then she's gonna go to hell, and then I'm gonna go to hell for killing her. Like, that's just how it works. So I'm trying to like keep it together. But that day, we had the deaconess, the overseer's wife, and I had planned to go do the shopping together for the church. And while we're shopping, I just told her everything about the whole picture situation. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I feel so violated. And she said, like, you know, yeah, sister, I don't know how you can do that. Like, um, especially him like wanting this every day, and then now you finding all of this. So like I will give her credit for like acknowledging that and validating me in that. I really did appreciate that at the time. But also everything that she did to like help me with it, it was for the church's benefit. And I didn't really get justice in it in the way that I should have. Um, because they wanted to protect their image, and because I still very much was deeply brainwashed with their doctrine, I still wanted to do everything their way. Because if it were me, I would have called the police. I would have gotten the hell out of there. I would have called my parents. Like, I would have called so many people, and he would have never even been able to look at me ever again. Anyways, um, she tells me, like, okay, I'm gonna help you get out of this situation, but you just have to trust me and you have to listen to everything I say, and like just trust me, and that's that. Like, and she says, I'm gonna talk to a missionary, which was, the overseer, her husband, and and then tonight I'll let you know the plan. So I go through the rest of the day. We're like doing the gospel work. And then in the evening, also she she then goes and tells like the deacon. She's going telling like another male. Like, as a woman, honestly, like it's really, when you've like been violated by a man, it can be really uncomfortable to um have other men around, like sharing, like when you're sharing the story to them. That's honestly why I shared on the Playing in Traffic podcast first, because they were women and I felt more comfortable, because I had been so wronged by the men in the organization. Um, Not to say anything about Great Light Studios, like they are amazing. And I obviously like later went on their platform after like I healed and was ready. But like it's just really uncomfortable, like for her to go and then tell. And the way that I found that out is when she went to tell me the plan, the deacon was right there. And she was like smiling and laughing with him, like, yeah, can you believe that? It's really crazy. Like it was like cheese for them,
Yeah.
like gossip that they were just eating up. Um,
And these are
and
the same people that put you in the marriage in the first place.
yes,
So
yes,
just the fact that they even told you, trust me, and what, because earlier you said they told you, trust me, everything that I'm going to tell you. Well, I did. And look how that's worked out. But anyway, continue.
yeah. So then they start kind of like talking about it in front of me and like to me, like they're like, yeah, like Brother Mark, he's actually caused a lot of problems. Like he has really big anger issues. Like he's a really hot temper. And looking back, I'm like, wait a damn minute. You guys have known for years that he had these anger issues where he would have these outbursts of rage and that he is so defiant, like in obeying like everything we're told to obey. And they literally just put me with him to try and get him in line and get him off their back, because also I found out that he had been begging them to be arranged since before he followed them to Colorado Springs.
Mhm.
And he had actually came to them asking for to be with other sisters in the previous state in Oklahoma, and they told him no. And so like he had been bugging them for years to be arranged. He had been like, they clearly knew his character, they knew who he was. And then I come in, you like, I've already shared how the way that I came in, like where I was at, what my intentions were, and the reasons why I agreed to doing this. They were above all of that, seeing it from like a bird's eye view and thought it was right and good for me in my life of faith. There's
I
no
just
there's no explanation. Um,
I just want to mention that he came from Oklahoma,
mhm.
which means we don't know his behavior there, you know? Um,
Yeah, other than what
but
they
when,
say.
right, probably similar, right? But when he came to Colorado Springs, um, I just want to point out when they move overseers, Joelle and Jennifer were overseers. They replaced David and Ceci.
To fix
And
their
so, right,
mess.
to exactly,
To do what? I
thank you.
didn't catch that.
They came to fix the mess that David and Ceci had done in
Hmm.
But
Colorado
but
Springs.
what does that mean? The most important thing about leaving is accepting that we made a mistake. You know, like that's none of us were right in there. And I feel like in regards to this situation, the the leaders, they didn't do what was right.
Yeah, not very.
The the one she was married to, he didn't do what was right. But what tops it off is the World Mission Society Church of God, the one who funds the organization, says, you guys were right. Even though everyone feels bad about the situation, the organization is okay with it because it's helping them make money. Why? Because Esperanza spoke out. I know Esperanza. So imagine I would have stayed in and been like, OMG, she almost got me. I don't know. I'm trying to put in perspective of like they they feed off of this. The World Mission Society Church of God, even though Mark and the leaders, Joelle and Jennifer, even though that we can say or defend them or try to have some kind of uh, help on behalf of their decisions, the organization approves it. The organization approves it. The World Mission Society Church of God approves all of their decisions. Why? Because those members who felt close to you, who felt close to him, maybe have been more dedicated. They have chosen to put their life more into the church. They have given more to the church. The church feeds off of this. Do we like it? No. Do we choose to speak out still? Yes. But that's what this organization does. And so it's really disheartening to know that somebody like this gentleman who was arranged with you may feel at an advantage in his salvation
Yeah.
when
And
you
I
just
want to say too, like, I know that there are um other sisters like in high positions with like married in arranged marriages with males that are in very high positions in the church that have it. It's even worse than my story. Like,
100%.
and it's up to those people to share their stories. But like, I don't want anyone listening to excuse it because, oh, he was just a unit leader. He was just
Mm,
this, he was just that. Like, again, all these things were approved by leadership, by the organization, by Zangilcha, because this is how they run it. A really general pastor, but don't discredit what happened just because of like his title or lack thereof. Like,
mm,
this is happening on even worse than what I'm sharing right now.
mm.
Like the higher up you come in leadership, especially if you're listening to this and you are a newer member or um, you are a gospel worker that like lives outside of the church and stuff, like, and you say like, oh, well, I've never seen that, and they're really good people here. Like, yes, there are really good people there, but you have no idea what's happening behind those closed doors in all those little offices when all the members leave until late in the night, the things that are happening before the members get there. Like,
We're taught
everyone has been abused
don't
in so
share
many different
emotions.
ways. Not just like not just within the arranged marriages, but the things that happen behind closed doors, with the leadership. If you're lower on the pyramid, they're in the pastoral staff and everything. Like, you have no idea what's going on behind closed doors unless you are there and you experience it. So like, you cannot discredit um us that like lived at the church, and like we're sharing these stories with you for a reason because we really care, and it's real. But yeah, I want to get back to like trying to finish the story. So yeah, I it's later in that evening on the day that I had told the overseer's wife about the photo situation and some of the other things. And now it's in the evening where she's giving me the plan that was promised, but she's doing it with the deacon. This is the same deacon, mind you, that would come banging on the door. He wasn't a deacon at the time, but anyway, he would come banging on our door, like, "Where are you?" And always looking for this brother. And yeah, they're just like eating it up like it's chisme. And then I find out, like, yeah, that they knew who he really was. They already knew his character based on everything that they were saying, like, oh yeah, he was like this and back in Oklahoma, blah 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 blah. Um, and of course, like, I say that now, but in that moment, like, I was in the heat of experiencing this trauma. And of course, I wasn't like, oh, well, you guys knew. Well, screw you. I'm out of here. Like, that's not, I was so deeply indoctrinated still. I'm like, what do I do? Like, I am obligated in this marriage by God, is where I'm at. And I'm like, how am I even gonna, even when the overseer's wife said, like, maybe you guys have a divorce. I'm like, what? A divorce for a marriage arrangement? Like, what? Like, what's that going to do for my salvation? Like, is it okay to divorce? And we know now, like, there are so many divorces, and people are on their second or third arranged marriage, because this is happening all the time there. And so I'm like, okay. Um, and again, she's like, but you have to do it the way that we tell you. You just have to trust me. And she said, okay, well, mind you, this was also like in the heat of COVID, where um we were we had been in lockdown for a while, and I think that's why the abuse and everything started to really heighten in my arranged marriage because like I was working from home, he was home all the time, like so he just has more access and time with me. So like what do you think's gonna happen? Um so yeah, we were there in lockdown and it's like what are we gonna do? So we're also going through that like mentally. So not only am I dealing with that, but like as a member, if you were in during COVID, like remember how scary it was during that time? Like, yes, we're excited because oh my God, like Father is actually coming right now. Like a disaster, yay. Like we were excited about it. But it was also like, have I done enough? Am I worthy? Like so we're dealing with all of that. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, Father's coming and I'm like dealing with a divorce. Like so it was so scary and like so concerning for my eternal life at the time that I believed in. And but I'm like, okay, if I do everything the way they say it, then maybe I can still go to heaven. And so they told me, okay, we are going to tell brother that you guys are going to move into another brother's house. There was a brother that had like, he was like rented a couple rooms in his house, and those people had recently moved out. So they were like, we're just going to ask this brother, you guys move in there, and we're going to tell brother that you guys are going to start a house church there and be house church leaders. So he'll be excited to move over there, and you guys will move there like next week or whatever. So um and I'm like, wait, how is this solving the problem? Like what do you mean I'm gonna be a house church leader with this guy now? Like that's not
How's
but then
that
she's like,
helping?
yeah, but then she was like, no, but that's not actually what's gonna happen. We're just gonna tell him that to get him out of the house, like to move him out of living in the church.
Hmm.
And then after you guys move, then you leave and move back in over here, like to get away from him. So yes, she did get me away from him, and I appreciate that. But also, I'm a grown ass adult and I shouldn't need permission to get myself out of danger. So thank you, but also no thank you. Anyways, I so then I have to like also I want to mention at that time too, I said, but like that's lying, isn't it? Like we're like lying to him. Aren't we not supposed to lie? Like how many times do we read the verse like the father of lies is Satan? Like like we're resembling Satan by lying like that. And she's like, well, it's okay if it's like a white lie because it's to help the gospel. We've all heard it. So that was my encounter with that, as like members all over the world have heard. It's not just these leaders, but anyway. So then I have to like pretend for a whole week with this brother. Oh, yeah, I'm so excited. We're going to go be house church leaders. The abuse continued. I caught him taking more pictures of me during this time. Like, yeah. And then the day came to like move us out into this other brother's house. And like, we're moving, we have to do it like where no members see. And then, like, the sister, the single one that had moved in, she was like, what's going on? Like, she was so concerned. And, like, I'm not allowed to tell her anything. And I remember she got so upset and felt so, like, left out. Like, why am I not being told anything? Uh, I just want to mention that, like, I just felt so bad for her in that moment. If she ever sees this, like, this is what was actually going on, you know? um, and so we move over to that house. We get there. It's like,
I just want to clarify, the house is the house next to the
yeah, so in
it's in the
Colorado
parking lot of the church, right?
yeah, it's like it's truly like a compound here in Colorado Springs. Like it's like the church building and the parking lot, and there's a house right here that the church owns. And so this used to be living quarters for like members,
LQ.
like leadership, but yeah, LQ, the LQ living quarters. But after I've left, they've since very nicely renovated it. Let me really quickly also share the like living conditions of this house at that time. There was black mold everywhere.
Hmm.
My bedroom was a room that had so many windows in it that weren't sealed. Like, so it was so cold in the winter, so hot in the summer. We were always sick. There were constantly bugs getting in. We had like the clothing racks because there weren't no closets. And so every morning I'm like checking my blazers and stuff to make sure there were always moths and stuff in there. I had to remove bugs from my clothes before I put, like, it was disgusting. And our washer and dryer was always broken. We had to like run back and forth across the parking lot to do our laundry, but only when they said, and we couldn't let any member, like, it was just so stressful. The
Can
kitchen sink
can
sometimes didn't run, the bathroom was horrible.
mhm.
Anyways, that was the house. And many
I want
members
to point
here,
that out. I want to defend you in that though,
yeah.
because living quarters, especially Esperanza, like um the Colorado Springs members, especially the living quarters looks sorry. You might want to cut out my laugh because I'll be honest, uh, sometimes we don't do repairs correctly, but correctly, like when I look at the house now, it looks really nice. And
Yeah,
I know that maybe you haven't seen it, but I've seen both.
yeah,
I've seen before and I've seen after. And I want to point out, I think it's, I don't want to, a lot of people might say, oh, father came from a shabby hack or shack and he tried to, and eventually it moved into something big, but don't
like, oh,
use
it's
that.
my father's house, there's
Don't
rat
you,
poop
yeah,
everywhere.
don't
Like,
use that.
literally.
Don't use that because I'll be honest, like, um, I was there, like, um, I know that nobody chose to redo that house until you left,
Yeah, it was
until
after, yeah.
your interview came out. When you left, your interview came out, you mentioned about the condition of that house. They chose to fix it. And I'm mentioning that because the World Mission Society Church of God is very responsive. That's if I can give
Right.
credit where credit is due, I'll give you credit there. Y'all are responsive. Y'all will do something quickly when somebody said something is wrong. But are you doing it for the right reason? Nah.
No.
Yeah, it was actually like, um, they, I'll get into it.
But
I'm
I
really
just
glad.
I just
I'm
yes.
really glad that no members have to live in those conditions here
A
anymore.
hundred,
And I
yeah,
don't think that they even let members live there anymore. I think it's like for uh uh short terms, like
gospel.
for people to come stay.
Uh,
Yeah,
no,
because
I'm
they
pretty
added like
sure
like more places.
one deacon might be living there. Okay, let me tell you
Yeah, of
something
course.
funny.
Like I don't think the whole thing, but anyways,
When Deacon was living there, they try to make it seem like he was living in some luxury. Oh, Deacon has the whole house. Like that whole house? Like they
that poor guy is
literally
so lonely.
guilt tripped him for living in that place. They guilt tripped him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like,
Um,
whatever, you know? I
yeah.
just wanted to point that out though, because I think that you really like living conditions is something that a lot of members have to go through. I
Yeah. Sleeping on the
I
floor.
I personally feel like I had a choice, and so I feel a little bit like I don't want to say something because I feel at an advantage because I was like, no, I'm not going to let this happen. But not everyone had that. And yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with those living conditions. I really, 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 really don't. I don't think that anyone should have to live in a house where there's mold. And um, to be honest,
And I was paying rent.
and you are paying rent, and tell
Uh,
me and you and I spoke. I didn't really like conceive of the conditions, but yet there was kids living there.
Yeah,
And
like
so
in years past, they could have
that's
kids.
where, yes, I couldn't do with that. I was like, wait, but there was two families that I know of that lived there, and they're okay with it, and they're still in the church. Well, one of them's following Daniel Park,
hey,
but whatever, but whatever.
can we get like bad realtors involved that show like on Netflix? Because like this is crazy, and I didn't mean to. I know Esperanza. I know you want to get to your story, but I just want to mention something real quick. Like we
Yeah.
had a similar situation in Wichita, except that the houses that we lived in, like when you walked, like the floor wanted to cave in on itself. It was two houses that were donated to the church, and they lied to us and told us that we were paying rent to the guy, so we would give money to the missionary, and supposedly the missionary was giving it to the realtor when there wasn't no realtor. He was just pocketing the money. Meanwhile, these houses were in such poor condition that the house next door where my best friend lived, he's out of the church now, thankfully, but so he can attest to this, my boy Ricardo, like okay, there was bed bugs in that house. It was two brothers staying there, and when they had to use the bathroom, there was no heater in the winter. It wouldn't work well. So, but the bathroom, the toilet was like in one of their rooms. So, like, I laugh at it now because they're all out and we joke about it. But like, they would like say they'd freeze their butt off sitting, on the toilet, and the other one would stink up the other one's room, and like, it was just horrible. And you always felt like you were going through the floor. I remember during the year of Jubilee, one of them, some of the brothers try to sell the boiler from that one of those houses to donate the money to the church. Anyway, I'm ending with this. Finally, those houses, because the reason it sparked my memories, because you guys said the houses were really bad in Colorado Springs and they renovated it. These houses in Wichita were so bad they had to demolish them, and they're no longer standing. We were living in houses that needed to be condemned. How they didn't fall on us while we were
Oh,
living there,
God.
that just shows you how little the WMSCOG cares about its members. Like, you literally would walk on the floor and you felt like you were walking on the Indiana Jones bridge. You didn't know which step it was going to be before you went all the way down. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Esperanza, go ahead.
You just reminded me really quick, like sidebar, like I can't imagine what that toilet situation was like. It made me think of just like all the toilets in Zion in general because
Uh,
everybody's gut health was wrecked. Like everybody's stomach was because all the energy drinks we're drinking, our diet is like crazy. So everybody was constantly blowing it up in there and just horrible. Like
that's
absolutely horrible. And we're using this Dollar General air fresheners. Like it's all the same. That didn't cover up anything.
nothing.
Um, so that's a memory, unfortunately.
Oh.
um, so
So Esperanza, but I wanna bring us back. So, you were arranged with the brother,
yeah, so we
and
were over at this they moved us over to this house with the lie that we are going to be house church leaders. And then when we got to that house, I caught him taking a picture of me again after I have already told him many times, like, do not ever do that again. Please stop. This makes me so uncomfortable. And I have to pretend because also they told me, the overseers told me, because of his anger issues that they were well aware of before my experience with him, let me make that clear. Like they said, because of his anger issues, you have to be really careful. So you have to pretend like everything is okay. So here I am, like literally just terrified on the inside and just unbelievably uncomfortable. But like, imagine the long term of what that does to your brain, to your psychological health long term when it comes to um, acknowledging an unsafe situation and like being able to react to it, like me having to forcibly um, not react in the way that my nervous system would have preferred, and having to pretend like it was all okay and having to um, lie for them on their behalf. Um, yes, I just kept telling myself, like, okay, 5 more days, okay, 3 more days, okay, we're almost there, okay, tomorrow I'm leaving. And yeah, we were there, and then one morning when he left, I like packed up my stuff and I texted the overseer's wife and I said, okay, my car's loaded, I'm coming. And like I went back in, but I went back and like just like the psychological state that I was in, I was really not okay. Um, there was so much going on. It was also like during the Passover time. Um, like it was coming up. So um Passover during COVID was crazy. So like I'm going through all of that and then I'm trying to prepare this and I'm like a unit leader and I have my members that I'm supposed to ensure that they take the Passover in this like crazy remote way that's never happened before. Um and yeah, I just was like completely numb. Um but also so it was so indescribable at that time, like because then I'm put back in this room where everything happened, and I'm there by myself with just the silence and like the the aftermath of trauma is honestly like almost really worse than when you're in it. Um, yeah. Uh, of course, like don't stay in that situation. Like I wouldn't, I'm so glad to be out of that, but um the things that you deal with for years to come. Like I still deal with things because of this whole arranged marriage situation and the abuse that I went through. Lots of therapy. Um, but yeah, I also like was fully under their doctrine. And, we're taught to like always express that you're happy, especially if you're in a position of leadership. You can't ever show like your members that you're feeling any type of way or those around you. Um, and yeah, they asked me like, "Oh, how are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm good. Thank you so much for getting me out of there." And then very quickly, he also like kind of realized what happened. Like, wait a minute. And he got extremely hostile. Like he came and pulled up to the church. He busted through the doors, like yelling at everybody. Um, and so many women like come to the edge of death in violent relationships. And I am so grateful and lucky because I was only like physically with him for like a year. Um, and they always develop over time. Like I cannot imagine. I can't imagine. Um, like the way that he busted through the church doors after I had left, like I'm so glad that the things that could have happened didn't. But him doing that, it also shows like his behavior. Um, And then that happening prompted them to continue to use me to control him for their benefit. So then the next day I'm told, hey, brother's being like really crazy. Um, and like I also at this time they're like, okay, well, like, you need to start the divorce process. So then I'm like here trying to figure out how to deal with all of that and all the paperwork and
So I'm sorry. So
yeah.
they initiated. The divorce. I just want
They,
to ask. I'm
they
sorry.
told me, yeah, to like file the divorce after leaving him. But they told me like make sure you don't mention the church in the whole divorce process.
Mhm.
Excuse me. Make sure you don't mention
Right.
the church. We know why. And then also, um, when he had like came through the church doors and was being like very hostile and yelling and everything, that following day, they told me like he's being really crazy. We need you to like scare him to like calm him down. And so they said, send him a message. And they like everything, they told me to show them everything that he texts me and that they wanted to see my responses as well. Like they were controlling the entire situation. And they said, send him a message and like threaten him with, like, tell him that your mom helped you get lawyers, which is like, not, that never happened, that you have lawyers and that you are going to call the
So they
police.
told you to lie.
Yeah, again, which I I very well could have actually done all these things and like really gotten him into legal trouble.
Mhm.
Um, so like threaten him with lawyers and also that I would call the police on him and report everything if he didn't stop.
I think
Um,
I think it's
so
important that you mention this because he's still a member.
yeah, so but they and in that moment though I'm like, wait, really? Because I think like this is the severity of the situation. Like
Mhm.
they knew the severity of the situation where they're like threaten him with the police because this situation is
It's
against the law.
intense.
And he could
Yeah.
very well go to jail for what he's done. And but they're using me. And so I'm like, wait, really? And they're like, yeah, 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 but don't actually call the police. She said that. Don't actually call the police. Don't actually, because we don't want it to look like the church had any involvement with your marriage. These are the exact words that came out of her mouth. Meanwhile, the overseer's signature is on our marriage license.
Mine too. Yeah.
Can't get away from that. So, um, then, um, so I do that, and then he kind of like chills out, and then just like your typical like when you there's like a toxic relationship, the typical back and forth of him like, oh, I'm so sorry. I really love you. I should have never done any of those things. I'm really sorry to father and mother. And like if you love father and mother, you'll try to give our marriage a chance. We really shouldn't divorce. It looks really bad for our salvation. Like, and then I would say absolutely not. I just like filled out all these divorce papers, la la la. And then, when I didn't give him the response he wanted, then he would get like very hostile. Like I have so many messages from like you wouldn't believe. I have everything. I have two old phones from when I was in the cult and I have everything there. Evidence of all of this. But yeah.
So hold on. So I just want to just for those who are watching, but so um you you two communicated with each other for a long time. Outs like
So it got to
to
the
in
point
the
he had to complete the divorce because also
right
they they were using me to control him still because of the way he
that.
came into the church. They didn't want to deal with him even though they knew that this person was a danger to me. They didn't care. They still wanted
Mhm.
me to be in the front lines when it came to being in contact with him. They could have helped me so much more than they did. But as you see, like they're still using me to lie to him to
Mhm.
for their benefit. So
Even
that
though he's the one that's giving more money, now they've they've promoted like
oh yeah,
it
like
seems weird in the
later. So
situation where they're trying to win you right now is what it is. At this
yeah,
current moment, they're trying to win you,
but they're
even though
also like
we all
trying to
know the
keep him
resolution.
and like it could have really blown up. Like imagine if the police would have gotten involved.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
they
You should
rather
have.
than trying to keep me, they were trying to protect themselves. Okay,
Hmm.
so there was all that. And then it comes time for us to have our hearing for the divorce. And, it was just such a whole process. Like he would not sign the papers. We eventually did get him to like sign things. Um, but they made me talk to him, made me do it. They had another sister in the room with me and him. Like, I just, at that point, like the overseers should have overseen all of that. Like, in the sense of, like, we got you into this, we're going to really see this through and make sure
Hmm.
that you get out of it okay. Don't worry. We will take care of everything. We will make
But
sure he signs
they were
this.
scared.
Yeah,
They
no.
might have even been scared when you asked them to sign the documents, because I asked them to sign documents, the same overseers, and it was
Yeah,
scary for them. So I
yeah.
can only
So,
imagine
yeah. So, um, we,
they don't want to commit on behalf of the organization. That's something that's really important is I'm sure the one who you were against would be more likely to be like, yeah, I did wrong. But the overseers, the ones who were asking you to take accountability and him, were the ones who should have taken accountability, and they were the ones to first be like, no.
yeah.
So
Um,
that's the situation. Like none of this would have happened on behalf of you or this gentleman. It
yeah.
happened on behalf of the organization. So when the organization is brought in to fix the problem that they created, is when it becomes a bigger problem. Like, oh, we didn't do this. But yet they were brought in to fix the
To
problem they created, you know?
wash their hands of all of it because it didn't work in their favor, right?
Mhm.
But mostly it didn't work in my favor. But anyways, so all of that. And then um also like I'm really living in fear at this time, not only spiritually because of COVID and Passover, but also physically. Like I'm crossing that parking lot terrified every night, anytime, because I'm like, he knows that I'm here. Like, so that's just what I was going through at the time. And um we have our hearing and it's online because it's, COVID time, so court hearings were online. It was like over the phone actually. It wasn't even like on Zoom. And um he was crazy during that hearing. Like he was like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. We're not getting a divorce. Like just like speaking over the clerk. Um and so I am just like, I'm just toasted, like I literally had nothing left in me at that time. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, and then because of they're like, okay, well, we think you guys need mediation, so you need to go to mediation and then we'll go from there. So it delays it. And then he no-showed that. And then like all these delays kept happening. And then he would like text me and blame it on me. I ended up blocking him and then it was like only email where he could contact me for the divorce. Um, so it wasn't like an immediate like notification on my phone and stuff. Um, and then like they just dismissed our case. Then I have to pay for the divorce. Meanwhile, I'm so broke in the church. I have to pay for this divorce again to file it again. Same thing. But also like I was just like boiling over by that time. Like I just could not function. I was like still trying to pretend like I was okay inside the church. Like, and also it was just us, like the pastoral staff and a couple of us like leaders that lived there. And we're trying to orchestrate this remote Passover, drive-through Passover, really drive-through tithe is what it was. But um, it just was such an unbelievable time. And Passover happened. Some more like time passed, like a few more months, and then something in my body just like so things had kind of opened back up, like as far as like work from home and like places around the city were opening up from the lockdown. And so sometimes I did have to go and do stuff at the office. And like those times where I got to escape that room that I was in all the time when I wasn't like inside the common areas at the church, like my body was able to just kind of like release a little bit, I think. And um so then like one day I something just like my body, I was just like, I just need to go. And I remember, and I actually like, this is a part of my story where I'm like, hell yeah. I remember like I was on YouTube, and I want to mention this about YouTube too. So they have like, their internet mission, and they told us like everybody can participate in the internet mission, and this is how, like, play the church videos all night while you're sleeping so that they gain views. So I used to do that all the time. I would play all the sermons, whatever, just put it on the channel, let it play, and I'd go to sleep. And so I'm sleeping and my brain's listening to all this crazy shit. But anyways, um one night, like I got on YouTube, like my normal routine to set up my indoctrination bedtime. And I this video pops up, and it's Shakira, the song La Tortura. And um I used to love that song. And I just I played it. I had to listen to worldly music, like I let all of that go. And I just, for the first time in forever, like I just danced in my room there inside the church like all night. And it just like I've learned now later, like for women, like we store a lot of our trauma like in our hips and stuff. And so just like letting it out that night, it just like it was this big release. And that next morning, I told him like, hey, I have to go do work in the office today. But I didn't. I lied this time, but not for their benefit, but for mine for the first time. And I actually messaged an old friend who I had invited to the church, and she came a couple times. And then I remember we were in we were in service, and the song What Are We came on, the one that's like, we are
What
worth.
are we?
Yeah.
We are worms.
Yeah, and she's like, I remember she looked at me and she's like, I'm not a worm. It's like, this song is horrible. Like, why would you, why would God want you to think that you're so low like that? Like, and she never came back, but like her and I used to be pretty close, and we were like roommates like in years past too. So I messaged her and I said, hey, like, what are you doing tomorrow? Can I come over? Like, can I work from home, but like at your house? And she right away was like, yes, come. Um, so I did that, and then I just never left her house. I just, and of course, like I was still very much indoctrinated. Uh, it was like my brain and my body were so disconnected, where like my body was like, get out, drive your car over here. But my brain was like, oh my God, no, you're gonna die. Like, I'm like, what is happening right now? I'm supposed to turn right, but I went left. And um, yeah. Um, and then of course, like it was a preparation day, I remember. So they were blowing me up. Like, how dare you not be here on preparation day? What are you thinking? Um, and yeah, I like stayed the night there, and then they're like, maybe you just keep home worship. Um, yeah.
So at
So
this point, it was right after 2020, so they were trying to
yeah, I think it was like
manipulate like
2021
what
or
you were.
something. But
That's
so
that's interesting to know that
but the
they that
members, like,
try to manipulate.
it was like limited members at this time were allowed to come to
Mm.
service.
Right,
So
right, right.
like we were always keeping service all together in the church, even during lockdown, because we lived there while members were keeping it at their homes. But now that I had run away, they're like, now you keep home worship. And I just like, I felt like I can't go back. Like I just felt like I have to stay here. At the time I couldn't explain it, but I'm so thankful to like my body for driving that car the other way. Even though my brain was like, you're gonna die. Don't like what are you doing? Um and yeah, but like I very much was still so indoctrinated. I just was like, I don't know what's happening, but I feel like I cannot be there right now. Like I just can't do it. I mean, like look at everything that just happened, you know? And then I I just tell myself like, okay, like you're just gonna go to hell and die. And that's that. Like maybe salvation is for this brother, but it's not for me. Um, and so like then I just start like pretending, you know, like all right, well, I'm gonna go to hell anyway. So this is my good friend. I know I love her. She loves me. And like, you know, then she had a couple other roommates and I made good friends with them. And then I got another like side job to like kind of get me out and like socialize me a little bit. Like, you know, you're just like not only do they cut you off from any like real sign of life and socialization when you're in there, but then it was like during COVID time too, on top of that. So I just really needed, I'm like, I need to be around like people and like so I can learn how to be normal right now, like by seeing how other people are in the world. Because you've been like out of the world for these years. And um yeah, then so mind you as well, like during this time, like the divorce still wasn't done because of like him not participating. And then it also got to a point where I was just like, you know what, like this is all about to blow up and burn anyways. We're spiritually not married anymore anyways. Like screw it. Like I just needed to get out of there. But like again, this is the thing with the arranged marriages that they really control you because it was that divorce not being finalized that was the thing that actually brought me back. So they found out like I went back to like working in a bakery on the side and some sisters had come in and saw that I worked there. And then of course they're like, oh my God, we found her and blah blah blah. Blah. And at this time the overseers had changed again. So they kept visiting me. Sometimes I would hide. And then eventually they would come like in pairs or like small groups, but eventually they sent one like deaconess by herself, and she was someone that I always loved so much. So of course they're gonna send her. Um, and I just this was also when the war with Russia and Ukraine started, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's happening, like the end of the world. Like what do I do? But I don't think I can go back. I'm feeling like I'm so unworthy and sinful because I left, because I ran away. Um, which is so horrible that like they have you so indoctrinated that you can be so abused and manipulated and lied to and then think that you're unworthy to be there. It's just awful. But so I'm like in fear. And I'm like, but I'm so afraid. I knew that this brother was still in the church attending, and our divorce still isn't done. And I I just blurt everything out to this deaconess. Not everything, but I'm like, they put me in a marriage with this brother. He's been like so horrible. I've been trying to get this divorce done forever now. I don't know what to do. I'm honestly also very afraid of him. And then she's like, it's okay, don't worry. We have new overseers, so everything is new and shiny, right? Like just like it was supposed to be when the other overseers came that arranged my marriage. They're there to fix everything. Anyways, so she gives my number to the overseer, who was Sam Molina, who came, I think, from San Diego, somewhere in California, I think it was San Diego, and Becky. I don't know her last name. I know that she's a very
Her
acknowledged.
parents are
Yeah, her dad was like the architect of the Jerusalem temple or something like that. So they're very well known. But it was them. And I he's like, of course, oh sister, I'm so sorry. That never should have happened. You didn't deserve that. Like, please come. I'll make sure that this gets done. I'm gonna help you. So I go and I meet with him at the church. And then just the same way that I came in the first time, I came back. I came back and it was honestly even more because when I first came, everything was like, oh my God, this is so happy and exciting. But now I'm like there thinking that I have to repay them, that I'm able to just even be there, and that I have to work so hard to make up for the time that I had ran away, even though like it's literally because of their abuse. But anyway, um, but in that sense, they had more control over me, and because I actually did need their help to get this divorce done, they were able to suck me back in. And like, so very quickly again, I moved out of where I was currently living and I moved closer to the church because I had moved far away to hide from them while I was like in my running away time. And yeah, so I moved close again, and then yeah, I'm there every single day, doing everything I possibly can. I'm going on the short terms. I'm preaching every day. I'm redoing all the studies, everything, everything, everything. And yeah, during this time, like, um, I, this overseer, Sam, this brother was still in the church, and Sam told me, like, because I said, I'm so afraid to, like, even be in the same room as him. Because there were moments, like, the first time I was in the same room with him for, like, a little education, my body was shaking the whole time. Um, and, like, I remember they had me stand up and, like, say something, like, oh, like, welcome back, Sister Esperanza, and, like, and I'm standing there, like, my body is shaking, and I'm trying to stop my body from shaking because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want people to see me shaking, and I don't want him to see that I'm afraid either. Um, because also, I was also afraid to be around this brother in the church because not only did he do things like while we were back home in our room, but he would also like if he saw me alone in a room at the church, he would come in there and so like I told missionary Sam that, and he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna make sure you're never alone. You're always gonna have someone with you. La 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 la. Like, really made me feel like I was gonna be okay. And then he even told me, like, yeah, he's kind of weird. I've already noticed, like, he's like causing problems. He's really temperamental. Like, he doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to do that. And that's why, like, they actually took away his unit leader position. Like it's common, like when overseers come to take away positions, give new ones. They had also promoted a bunch of people. So
and demoted.
yeah, exactly. Oh no, me. But yeah.
But yeah,
So meanwhile, like
yes.
I'm also not allowed to tell. Like it's crazy because I have this sister like chaperoning me, which you always have anyway. But like then I see him and I'm like, oh, and I'm like trying to go the other way, and she was told to like keep me away from him, but she doesn't know everything. She has no idea what the history is. So she's probably like, girl, what the hell? Like, so like it just was
Awkward.
so hard for me to keep it together. Like, honestly, like the damage to my nervous system and just overriding all of it constantly for their benefit. And yeah, then this brother, despite all of these things, he like we still had email communication open because we had to for the divorce. And he starts sending me emails like, oh, let's meet for coffee. Like, I really want to talk to you, la la la. So of course I'm showing all these to the overseer, and he's like, oh my gosh, he's crazy. I can't believe he's doing that. Um, and he's like, well, maybe we need to move him to another location, la la la. So then I feel like, oh my gosh, like maybe I can be here. Maybe I can go to heaven. Maybe I will be okay. And like Father, Mother will protect me and like really get him away from me for good. So I can focus on my life of faith. Whatever. Um, then he when I didn't respond in the way that he wanted, like I'm like, nope. We're only to talk about the divorce. Anything else, like I will be letting the overseers know. Like, do not contact me. Um, and then he starts trying to approach me like in person. Like we went on a camping trip like as a church, and yeah, he was like trying to approach me there. He did successfully one time. Like even trying to like touch me. Um, so yeah, like this man is just crazy. But I'm letting the overseer know these things, and he's still just kind of like, oh, that's crazy. Oh, like maybe we'll move him. But like not actually, like I'm not seeing anything actually change because he's actually getting closer to me. Now he's like almost touched me with his hand. Like, what's going on? Later I learned that he was actually telling this brother other things. So right there, like manipulating both of us for their own benefit. um So then I go on this short-term preaching trip to Utah, and this is where it all clicked for me. Get there, um, and Adam was actually there. We like received this briefing, and Adam was part of like presenting that briefing to us. Um, he um, he was still in the church, and like they when we were there, they kind of presented Adam as like this model member in Utah because Utah is like Mormonville, USA. And they were like, look, it is possible to like bring a Mormon to the truth because look, we have this pristine ex-Mormon brother here. So then, yeah, he was part of the briefing and explaining like the doctrine of the Mormon church, like not fully, of course, like they're just bashing them. But it was interesting. The things that were some of the things that were being said about the Mormon church and like how they treat women and um, the way they like control their bodies and all of that. Like my brain for the first time was like, wait a minute. You're saying that they're so horrible and they're evil and they're wrong and they're demons, actually, for doing those things. But that's been my experience here. So, like, my gears just started turning for the first time, like, when it comes to unraveling the brainwashing. And then when I get back, I um, I start like watching Mormon documentaries at home, and I just related to them so much. Um, like in a concerningly large way. Because it's very scary, right? As we all know, like when you feel like you're like losing your faith, but it's actually just their brainwashing and all of their lies falling away. You feel like you're dying, but I didn't know what was going on there. Like I still really believed in their doctrine, but I'm like, something is wrong. Like, why am I connecting with this thing that other people have experienced? And I fully blame their church. And I have the same experience, but like I'm still like protecting the World Mission Society in my mind. And I'm like, just something wasn't right. And I knew it in my body. And then I go to the Sabbath day. And in that, at the end of the service, missionary Sam announces like, oh, we have some promotions. I would like to congratulate this brother. It was the brother that I was arranged with. He's now promoted back to unit leader. So they promoted him in front of everybody, but in front of me. He Sam knew everything. Like he was even telling me like, this brother is crazy. He's disobedient. He's causing problems. Like, we actually are thinking of just moving him to another location. And then on the Sabbath day, in front of everybody, you're going to promote him. Like, I honestly, I honestly cannot recall, and maybe there was, but I personally cannot recall another instance where a member, what, like, their promotion was announced to the entire congregation at a Sabbath day. I cannot. So, like, honestly, what were the intentions of that? Um, yeah, and from that day, like, that same week later, I had a death in the family. And, of course, you're not supposed to go visit your family. You're really not supposed to go to a funeral, but I'm like, I'm going to tell them that I need to go. So I go to New Mexico, be with my family for a bit. Um, and then I really like, I start watching a lot more like other like Jehovah Witness and stuff like that. And then I still hadn't like looked at any of the World Mission Society doctrine and tried to unpack that. I hadn't watched any anti-WMSCOG like WMSCOG content with ex-members online, but I I had so many questions. And so um I had stopped going for maybe like a week, and Sam was like, everyone was blowing me up again, of course. And so I go back, like I set up a meeting with Sam, and I just ask him questions. And one of them was like, I remember he said, like, sister, do you need us to just move this brother to another location so you can be okay? Like, with this attitude of making it seem like I'm being troublesome by like, oh, do you need us to do this so you can be okay? Like, you should just be okay. Like, you're being crazy. Like, that's the way he talked to me. And like, I was very calm. I was also very emotional. Like, I remember I was crying because I'm like, how is this okay? Like, I don't understand. Like, and what did I do wrong? And and then that's when he tells me like, oh well, sister, like, you could have said no. And he was like, I said no to like moving to another location or this or that. And it's like, and he's like, and look at me now, but that's not what we were taught.
Mm.
Like, how dare you like accuse me of being wrong for saying yes to something that we're taught will get us to heaven? Like, isn't that what was right in the eyes of God? And then I remember he showed me a verse. I don't, if I saw it, I'd remember, but honestly, like, whatever. It was somewhere in the Corinthians, and um, it was them like, I think Paul explaining like how there was sexual immorality in the church and this and that, and like he was like dealing with like managing that with the members of the early church. And he was like, yeah, this is just normal. Like, see, it was even happening 2000 years ago. And it still just was like, that just doesn't do it for me. Like, it just doesn't do it for me. And like, like, what exactly was happening? Was it exactly this? I don't know. And how did Apostle Paul handle it? I don't think they handled it the way you guys are. Um, And then when he said, like, do you need us to just move into another location? I'm like, but isn't that what the Catholic Church does? Like, you guys always say how they're horrible and they just move their abusers around all over the place and shelter and hide them. Like, what's the difference here? You move into another location and then what? He was prying on sisters in Oklahoma and he came here and pried on me. Who knows if, like, he has pictures of other sisters in his phone, like he did with me. Like, and you're going to send him somewhere else where he has a whole new, like, store to shop from, like, ew.
Yeah.
And I just was like, okay, I gotta go. I grabbed my violin because I had my violin there. And I walked out and I never went back. Um, and then they kept like visiting my house, of course. I often like just laid in bed, paralyzed, like I can't go down and answer the door because I'm still like trying to process everything. Um, Eventually, like, I started to watch ex-member videos for the first time. And it started crumbling slowly. I was very defensive. Like, oh my God, Edgar, I remember listening to all your videos on Great Light Studios, and I would be so mad. I had started therapy as well, and my therapist was like, maybe you just need to try going for a walk. I remember I would just sit there and like stare at her and cry on the camera. She's like, have you eaten today? Maybe you should go for a walk. So I would go for a walk, like my therapist recommended, and I would put on Great Light Studios, and I mostly listened to your videos and like Kelsey's. And well, I listened to all of them eventually, but there was something about yours, Edgar, that like just infuriated me. But I also could not stop listening because I'm like, wait. So I'm there like angry, like walking down the street. I thought that I look literally, I would get off of work and I would change. I'd get like my walking gear on, my little headphones, and I'd walk until like it was dark and I'd be walking home in the dark. Like that was the way I process everything, just like while moving my body. Like my neighbors are probably like, there's this girl again, like Forrest Gump. Um, so yeah, and so when everything started crumbling, they had come to like see me again, like visit my house. Um, but it was the member that like she's the one that like they let move into the church single. And her and I were very, very close. And I knew that like I'd be kind of like saying bye to her. And I kind of like I didn't tell her everything, but I told her a little bit more, just like a little bit of like, just basically like they put me in this marriage with this brother. And this is why they had you like chaperoning me because he hurt me a lot. And I don't think it's okay. And like she's crying and she's like, no, but like we're we're in this together. Like we came in together, we're supposed to go to heaven together. And I'm like, I cannot. This is not this is not the way to go to heaven. Um, ugh, I have such a soft spot for her. I always cry when I talk about her and Jesus. Um, but yeah, um, like I knew that she knows it was very wrong. They also really like raised her up and like love bombed her a lot because I know she almost left as well. After like the first time I ran away. And it's like we had a conversation about it, but the way that they love bombed her and like, you know, promoted her and everything to keep her there because like they knew that we were very close and that I had started like sharing little things with her just because also I needed somebody to vent to. Like I still didn't feel comfortable like sharing anything with the therapist I was paying $400 a month for or like like I still hadn't shared with anybody. And so like um yeah, and then I decided like okay, I need we know how it goes. Like I'm like I need to like really get away from them and like really figure this out. So I move far away again, like where they don't know where I am. And then really just start the process of deconstruction, like watching all the videos, being very defensive. And then I think I was out for like maybe 7 months or something. And that's when I um, reached out to the Tony and Lindsay at the Playing in Traffic. And then when I shared my story there, it was the first time I shared it really like fully to anybody. Like the first time I shared my story, I shared it publicly. Like it just feels like um, you feel like like your whole world is ending and nobody gets it. Like you feel like you can't talk to anybody. So I'm like, okay, like something about them just made me feel like I could talk to them, even though I didn't personally know Tony when she was in the church. I know she was like on the way out when I had joined. So, but I think also just because they were like very close, like an hour away from me, and I just let it all out publicly. So I think like if anyone wants to like hear a little bit more of my story, like I think the most raw, fresh version is there. But yeah, it's been about 3 years now. I've had many challenges. But it's like and maybe you guys like experience this too. Like I know Edgar, you've been out for a while. Like it's like you have to keep starting over. Like you have to keep trying. Like it's not just like you leave and you're just like, okay, I'm rebuilding now. I have this. Like, yes, it is, but it's also like um we've been exposed to like we cannot ever now moving forward unsee any coercion going on. And so so it's good because like now we can know how to like identify it and protect ourselves from getting into something like this again. Um, and but I feel like it's also made me like, okay, well, I like doing this thing, but I feel like it's not safe for me, so I'm gonna go somewhere else and try rebuilding my life in that way. Um, and like you're so vulnerable after you leave as well, like into getting into another group, like you think you know how to identify it, but also like this stuff is everywhere. Like these tactics, they're in friendships and in relationships. Like um I know for like both males and females coming out of the church, like and you're single and stuff, and then you feel like ready to like date, that is very hard. Like you end up running into like similar personalities to the church, and like it's always surprising. Like you never know who's gonna like lie to you and manipulate you. Like in workplaces, in like any like community organizations, like cults come in any form, um, and like yeah, you just keep going. But like in that way, um, there are many, but really in that way, like this, it's changed us forever. Like our brains will never be the same. Like I'm grateful that I um can like maybe help save other people from experiencing these things. And hopefully like save myself from getting involved in any similar thing in the future. But yeah, it's not easy, but I I'm back in school. It's been really fun to just be in a learning environment. Like, I mean, of course, it's crazy. Like looking back, I'm like, damn, I was about to have my college just paid for, amazing, and like now I'm like figuring out how to fund it all. Like all of those little things, like each step that you're taking moving forward, like you're also remembering what they took away from you and what those steps looked like for you when you were doing them before they got a hold of you. And, it makes you angry. Um, and it sometimes can make it hard to do those things. Because I'd say for me, like, um, the hardest thing to shake for me has been like how ingrained in us it was that the world was about to end and that nothing on this earth mattered, that there's nothing that you could do on this earth that has purpose. And like that's been my focus the past year because I think like definitely like I've had a lot of fun, like I've traveled and I'm just like I just want to feel alive, I'm free, oh my gosh. Like in that it's there are so many phases to it. But like the past year, my focus has been like, okay, like now that that's settled down, like I deserve to um, feel purpose for me again, um, and like truly rebuild what they took away from me. Like I was before them, I was the most passionate person. Like I loved hearing about other people's passions, and it was just so meaningful for me. Like like my passion felt like fireworks inside of me. Like they were just so explosive and like I was so excited about my life. And that's the thing I'm most angry about at them for taking away from me. So my focus has been rebuilding that. So just like I remember the things I used to like before, so I like go back into doing those things, and then I'm like, maybe I'm older now, maybe that's not it. And just like trying on new things too. And it's been good, like definitely some frustrations too, because it's like, wait, I know I used to like this, but I just don't care anymore. Um, and maybe this sounds like so like gray, but it's just the reality, you know, of what we deal with. Um,
Mhm.
and I think too, like part of me wanting to come out and speak out again, it's also for me to remember, like, all right, I got to keep going. Like, I got to remember um, what I've been able to leave and get out of, and like all the opportunity I have right now. And just like, so I feel like my experience lately has been again so heavy on my mind. Like it was pretty traumatic, you know, so of course it's not just gonna go away. But I'm like, you know what? All right, I need to go and let it out again and just like fight for myself again. So thank you, Edgar, for having me on. And yeah, just like gives me more encouragement to keep rebuilding my life in the way that I deserve. And I'm also so, I just want to say too, like in the ex-member community, it's been amazing to see everybody coming out and speaking out so soon, so quickly too. Like I'm so happy for everybody. And like you all like inspire me and seeing like I love seeing everybody's like accomplishments on social media. Like it's really motivating. I'm like, all right, amazing. I can do it too. So yeah, good job everybody. And like, thank you so much for everything you're all doing. And yeah.
I love it. Amy, what you got?
Uh, just that I love Esperanza. You know, I think that that was a lot, and to recap it and to comment on it might be a lot, but um, just for the listeners to know, I was asked by leaders to tell members not to talk to Esperanza, like me personally, and I I remember when I called her after I left, and I was like, I am so sorry.
Oh my gosh, that phone call.
I was like, you know, I cannot be but sorry. And to be honest, that's all it really takes to, like, really, like, a lot of us go through a lot of BS in there, and none of us are right for what we do or how we treat each other because it's the environment. And I'm really thankful that I came out of there and I had you to to reach out to and feel comfortable with, and for you to um, accept the reality of leaving a cult. You know, I know that everyone that leaves there is in a different position. You know, if you've been there a few months to 10, 12, 13 years, the leaving process can be a little bit scary, you know, but um, we're here. And Esperanza was there for me, probably more than she should have been.
No, honestly, like you were the last person I expected to like leave first of all, and like that phone call from you that day, it was like, is this real? I think you had like messaged me on Instagram first or something like that. And then I was like, oh, AMG, I cannot believe this right now. And
like it either.
Just so you know, like from my perspective, it was just like, oh my gosh, like I was so happy. And sorry, I've like been sick lately and I think I'm losing my voice from all the
You can
talking.
cry.
So
You
yeah,
can cry,
I was just
Esperanza.
so
Go ahead.
happy. And um yeah, like we all say, like you were still like indoctrinated a little bit
Hmm.
and you were
Yeah,
afraid of
yeah,
the B word a little bit still. And but it's okay, like we worked through it. And yeah. And then too, I'm like, are you really out? Or are you
yeah.
because honestly, if you are a spy,
Yeah,
you're a
Esperanza's like,
member and you call me, I have nothing to hide. So
she's like, hold on now, are you
what do you
really
want to
out?
know? I'm
But
like,
it's
hey, let's go to
true.
coffee. What do you want to know?
I was so in, I was so scared to leave. And that's cool. That's good that you mentioned that because at first we do feel that like, ooh, should I message her? Because it's almost like a commitment. Like, oh, if I message her, now they know.
Yeah,
Like, but
I
no,
can.
it's not like that, really. Like, I have like drafts to Great Lakes Studio, like that I never sent because I was like, I'm gonna leave. I have this to say, but we are so scared about the decision we're making. We second guess it. But I'm really thankful because if I didn't talk to you, if I didn't have my best friend, then for someone who was in and was like that lost in the sauce, um, I think I would have just went back in, because it's true that it's easier to just be like, no, this is it's just easier to be like they're wrong
Mhm.
because we're given arrogance. And I'm sorry, World Mission Society, but you're a very arrogant society. You're
Mhm.
very arrogant because
The very arrogant Society Church of God.
yeah, because literally I feel more humble. I feel like I personally feel like I've been more humble. I've been more understanding than anything they've ever understood me. So if they want to say, I'm on a journey with my religious belief, and I think like many of us, but I personally think that unless somebody like Esperanza was there who showed a Esperanza was genuine when I left. I said sorry, and to be honest, we didn't even get into it, but when Esperanza left, the leaders of the church were against her. The leaders of the church came to me and said, tell members not to talk to her. So, and I did. I told members not to talk to her. And when I said sorry that of that. I'm sorry I disrespected you as an individual because it was wrong. And I think that's the most important thing for members when they leave the world mission. I think Esperanza did exactly what was right. You were disrespected. You were put into a marriage, but you've left this organization with more respect than many members, like it takes a lot of courage to not only talk about these situations among girls, but on the internet too. And on behalf of an organization where you have to now like explain yourself to members who want to know all these weird things, including me. I had questions too. Why this? Why that? And so I want members to step back and be like, what is love? Because the World Mission Society Church of God it's not really love. It's not love. It's false, and I think that the members who leave have more integrity and more humbleness and more compassion and love to speak out. There's no reason for you to speak out. You could have easily moved on with your life. But you yourself can say, I was in the World Mission Society Church of God because I cared about people. You wanted to save people. They prowled on that, and you wanted to save people, and then you taught their expectation of saving people. But when you left, you wanted to also save people. You spoke out to many people to try to tell them, but I can say respectfully, you didn't even do it in a loud manner. You're just like, hey, I have some information to share, and I can say that's very respectful. That anybody that leaves this organization, if they want to speak out and help somebody like you did, they're not doing it because they're the devil. They're doing it because that is exactly the same heart and mind that you had to joining this organization. You want to help people. So I really dislike that this organization misuses that. And I hope that when people watch this interview, they're like, I mean, I think they already love Esperanza, but I hope even more they love Esperanza, because nobody deserves to go through that. And she's one of many. Like she said in her interview, what I went through, what she said what she went through. I'm just using her words in quote, but that it wasn't incomparable to what many, many members are going through or have gone through. And she has chosen to speak out on behalf of them, knowing that it's not even the worst. And that means a lot because there are many, many women, especially, who don't have a voice and who have been looking for a way out. And I'm hoping that if they didn't watch her first interview, maybe they'll watch this one and they'll find courage to leave, and find out who they are and their own identity and move on with life, So, yes. Thank you, Esperanza, for coming on. I'm so excited.
Both of you guys did great. And I just want to say, let me address both of you. First to Esperanza, thank you so much for doing this. I can see how it really helps you to be able to tell your story because I really do believe that is healing. That's one thing I hear so often. It's very healing to be able to tell your story. And isn't it crazy that you brought up earlier, like even sometimes when people go to the therapist, sometimes you can't fully tell them and I don't know the reason, right? Like I've gone to therapy before myself and like for some reason I can't unload. And it's funny, we're on the internet, we know that this is going to go out to so many people and yet we're able to unload. And I really believe it's because we know that the people that it's going out to are people that can understand us, even if they might not be on our side right now. I firmly believe that the way things are going, it's getting there, and they're gonna start waking up if they're not already waking up. And so I really appreciate you doing this because even though it is helping you, like you said, but also you're helping so many people, and I know you're aware of that. And I really think that that speaks volumes to who you are as a person because you don't have to say these things. You know what I mean? And or you could speak out and leave out certain details. But you mentioned these things, and me as a male, I can feel how difficult it is for you. I can't fully imagine how you feel 100%. But just the fact that you're saying these things and that you could not possibly, you are going to save so many people from going through that. I really appreciate it. And I hope that, and I hope that you also see from your, like, from the Plane and Traffic podcast, and if you go back and watch the Great Light Studios, because I know things get emotional, and it's okay because we're reliving these memories. But I also want you to see how far you've come from that first interview to the second one to now. And I'm looking forward to what you're gonna have going on in the future, because it seems like you're in such a better place, you know. And again, we might not be exactly where we want to be, but we're not where we were yesterday, and we're definitely not in the WMSCOG. And that being said, Amy, you're a big part of, like, my whole channel last year, really having my back. And thank you for sharing your interview on the channel, and just being available, being a good friend. And, like, you're also doing so much for this movement, and I think it's awesome, like, just having both of you guys on here who are good friends. And in Midwest, I'm a little biased, so we got the Midwest connect. But I really appreciate you as well. And I really think that you guys are awesome people, and it speaks volumes to the ex-members out there. And I want to do something like Esperanza. I want to play off of what Esperanza said about, she gave a shout out to the ex-member community. I feel like I want to give a shout out to the ex-member community as well, because it's a kick-ass community. And I don't think members that are in there, they don't fully understand, like, it is amazing when you have people that the church will call evil spirits, and the church will tell you these people are Judas and they're nothing but cold. But these people will be there to have your back when stuff hits the fan. Now, I'm not saying, obviously, family, go to your family, go to the ones, but in some cases, sometimes members aren't even comfortable doing that. You know what I mean? Because you've been sometimes separated completely from your families. You know what I mean? And just know, if you're a WMSCOG member, that there's a huge community out there who will receive you with open arms. You can reach out anonymously. You don't have to ask about the doctrine. It doesn't matter. If you want to vent, just vent. Whatever it is, just know we're here for you. And lastly, for the WMSCOG, you better get it together, because we sending you guys packing. 2026 is the year of reckoning. So that being said, once again, thank you, ladies, for joining me today on this interview. It's the longest interview I've ever done by far, but it's very, like, I love it. Like, this is amazing.
Another thing.
Don't ever bring Amy on. Esperanza already said, Amy takes 4 hours. I'm gonna call her. Let me make sure I have 4 hours available.
No, this is what I live for. This was fun, and I actually hope maybe to do this again sometime, work together, get an update, or who knows, maybe see Esperanza on a Red Flag Friday episode, possibly. I don't know. Whatever it is, once again, to everybody watching, I really appreciate all the support. I'm very excited for the year 2026, and I'm very excited to see members coming out. That being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode of Diffusing the WMSCOG, and until next time.
Other way, I'm only asking for guidance, so I am not led astray. Had some people in the church say they love me, then left me broken. Hypocrisy at its highest. By their fruit you will know them. I ain't saying that I'm perfect. I've had some people I've hurt, and some bridges that I left burning. It took me some time to grow up, but who I am today can't be compared to the past me. There's life inside his word. As you paid for us,